Hi, I'm Cyril Amblar, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Mega, and I'm here today with my colleague, Michele Imperiali, and we're here to discuss two very important topics, IT compliance and business continuity management.
Hi, my name is Michele, I'm the product owner, and today I will be presenting you the IT compliance and business continuity management use cases. I'm very excited about it.
And again, if you have any question, use the chat and we will answer everything during the course of the presentation. Thank you. As we have just seen with previous presentation, organizations all over the world now relies more and more on their IT asset and data to bolster their growth and adapt to ever-changing market conditions, whether those are triggered by the current pandemic or by rapid change in customer behavior, for example. However, this heavy reliance on technology, which is essential for the transition towards digitalization, brings its own set of risks and challenges, mainly around the legality, security, and resiliency of those assets. With that in mind, we have developed two new modules with the release of HOPEX v5 as part of our integrated risk management suite to help our customer improve their digital security and operational resiliency, IT compliance with UCF integration, and business continuity management. So let's start with IT compliance. It is now essential for organizations to start embedding compliance not only in the process design, but in the digital assets that support those processes as well, in order to secure digital transformation. And a very good place to start for our customer is by leveraging the digital blueprint stored within HOPEX Enterprise Architecture with our new IT compliance module. It is designed specifically to help organizations improve their digital asset protection from cyber attacks, disruption, and the potential regulatory fine that goes with them, by using compliance with regulation and industry standard as a practical framework. Easier said than done, you might think, as the main challenge resides in identifying, decrypting, and managing the myriad of IT regulation and industry standards out there. That is why, at Mega, we rely on our partnership with the Unified Compliance Framework, UCF, that maps and harmonizes more than 10,000 controls over more than 1,000 regulation and industry standards. This allows thousands of customers worldwide to streamline their compliance effort and reduce the associated cost by 40 to 50%. Using an out-of-the-box integration with UCF, you can select the IT regulatory standard that matters to you, with their accompanying controls to be imported directly into HOPEX. We then provide you with a simple three-step approach to manage your IT compliance initiative. First, we give you the ability to map those IT controls to your relevant IT assets sourced directly from the inventory designed in enterprise architecture. Once this mapping is done, using our flexible assessment engine, you can assess those IT controls for effectiveness to identify and mitigate deficiencies. Finally, for our real-time reporting capability, you're able to report with confidence and evidence to the board and to the regulatory authorities on your current IT compliance status. Now, let's look at how this works in practice. I will now hand over to my colleague Michele Imperiali, who will demonstrate this new functionality in our HOPEX v5 platform. Over to you, Michele.
Thank you very much, Cyril. Let's now take a look at how HOPEX can handle the IT compliance use case.
One of the greatest advantages of HOPEX is the fact that all its modules share a central and unique repository. Thanks to this common platform, the IT compliance team will be able to reuse the information collected by enterprise architects. For example, they will have access to the register of all existing IT assets and the way they are interconnected to each other, which gives them greater visibility on the actual impact of applicable regulatory requirements. Using the out-of-the-box HOPEX integration with the Unified Controls Framework, Chief Security and Compliance Officers have a ready-to-use library of harmonized regulatory requirements. UCF provides a powerful tool which allows to quickly import into HOPEX thousands of regulations and standards, which have been analyzed to find common requirements and eliminate duplicate efforts. At the same time, UCF also guarantees to be up to date with regulatory changes. Once the user logs into UCF, he will be able to select the list of regulations and standards that apply to the business and that must be imported into HOPEX. Let's go ahead and select NIST, GDPR, ISO standard 27001, SOC 2, and PCI DSS. UCF will build for us a list of harmonized regulatory requirements, automatically eliminating any duplicate across the selected regulations. In our example, we can observe how UCF is providing a deduplication of 49%, which means that the compliance effort of addressing the selected regulations has been reduced by almost a half. Once in HOPEX IRM, compliance teams can either create content manually or leverage the UCF integration. Importing content from UCF within HOPEX is straightforward by a simple wizard which guides the user through the overall process. Thanks to HOPEX IRM risk-based approach, it is much easier to prioritize compliance efforts. HOPEX comes with predefined and ready-to-use reports which help chief security and compliance officers to quickly identify where to focus the team's efforts. The IT Assets by Business Criticality report exploits information provided by application owners, giving to compliance officers great insights on the organization IT portfolio. The compliance team can use this report to quickly identify IT assets with a serious business criticality, taking a look at controls implemented on these assets, for instance, customer success management. The user can make sure identified controls work as expected, thus ensuring the fulfillment of applicable regulatory and security requirements. Documenting the impact of applicable regulations on the company IT assets is very easy. Once the user identifies a specific requirement, he can map it to a control and then link the control to all applications which must comply with it. Once this mapping is completed, compliance and security officers can have the full representation of how each regulation impacts existing IT assets, whether controls have been put in place, and if there are issues that should be taken care of. Once all regulatory requirements are mapped to impacted IT assets through IT controls, we are ready to launch a campaign to assess the overall compliance of the organization to applicable regulations and standards, ensure IT assets are duly secured, and therefore reduce the probability of cyber attacks and regulatory fines. HOPEX IRM provides a very simple wizard to launch assessment campaigns and evaluate the organization's overall compliance to applicable regulations. The wizard guides the user towards the definition of the campaign scope, and to ensure a smooth execution of the campaign, it automatically highlights any issue that could prevent the campaign from working as expected. For example, controls without respondents or users without an email defined. Before launching the campaign, the wizard provides a detailed view of all applications that are impacted by the selected regulation, also providing useful information regarding respondents' workload and the full list of controls about to be assessed. As soon as the campaign is launched, people responsible to assess existing IT controls will receive an email in order to log into HOPEX and fill out a questionnaire. The objective is to validate that every control works as expected and that no critical security and/or compliance gap is overlooked. During the execution of the campaign, the Chief Security and Compliance Officers can monitor its overall progress. A ready-to-use report highlights controls which have failed, identified issues, and the status of action plans put in place to remediate them. To have a better understanding of the security threats that existing IT assets are exposed to, IT security and compliance teams can use a report which represents the list of failed controls for every asset, identified issues, and the status of action plans put in place. A specific Gantt report allows to have a clear understanding of the overall progress of the plan. But the true power of HOPEX and its unique platform is clearly visible via fully configurable, user-defined dashboards. HOPEX IRM provides a ready-to-use compliance cockpit, which provides the information which is most relevant for the chief security and compliance officers, with powerful drill-down functionalities which help the user quickly identify and fix most critical compliance and security gaps, therefore reducing the risk of compliance fines, loss of clients' trust, and market share. And this is just a quick example of how HOPEX can be your best accomplice in implementing a successful IT compliance initiative within your organization.
Thank you, Michele, for this brilliant demonstration. Closely intertwined with the topic of IT compliance that we have just seen and hyphened by the current crisis is the imperative for organizations to improve their operational resiliency. At its core, operational resiliency means that company needs to be able to maintain their operation and continue to serve their customer in the middle of disruption and crisis. And needless to say that the current pandemic has been a wake-up call as well as a real-life test for most organizations, and has put business continuity management on top of every board and regulator's agenda. Having efficient business continuity plan is no longer optional for organizations, as it can make the difference between make or break in today's complex and uncertain world. But building solid business continuity management requires the ability for an organization to have full integrated situational awareness of what is essential to deliver its goods or services to its clients, meaning having visibility on the interdependencies between processes, IT system, data, people, services, and the risk and incident that can impact every single component of that chain. Sounds like a tough challenge to crack? Well, the good news for our customer using enterprise architecture and business process analysis is that all this information is already captured and contextualized within our business capability maps. And this provides the ideal foundation for our new business continuity management module. It is designed specifically to help you plan and manage your operational resiliency by leveraging this vital information stored by enterprise architects with our integrated risk management capability. We then provide you with a streamlined and simple methodology wrapped around 4 phases. First, you can define your business continuity scope by selecting key entities and processes with all their related interdependencies sourced directly from enterprise architecture. Based on this selection, you can conduct business impact analysis, BIA, to determine critical activities and their recovery time objective, RTO, to build the required business continuity plan. Business continuity plans can be automatically triggered in case of incident so that designated personnel know how to respond to the emergency as well as the steps needed to recover to a business as usual mode as quickly as possible. Finally, for our reporting dashboards, you can monitor the status and progress of your business continuity plans in real time. Now let's look at how this works in practice, and I will now hand again over to Michele, who will demonstrate this new functionality in our HOPEX V5 platform. Over to you, Michele.
Thank you, Cyril, for this introduction. I will now present you the business continuity management use case and show you how you can operationalize business resiliency. Let's jump right into HOPEX.
Business continuity management is all about identifying the most critical business processes and define a continuity plan which constitutes the right balance between operational continuity and cost of recovery from a disruption. We like to say that all the business processes are critical for the business and that if an incident takes any one of them down, we want to recover and go back to business as usual in the flick of an eye. Unfortunately, this approach would mean huge recovery costs, with all involved IT systems required to back up their data at every instant. This is where business continuity management comes in handy, helping organizations identify what are the processes that truly require a continuity plan, and for how long business is ready to accept and, most importantly, accommodate for one of such processes to be partially operational or worse, unavailable. HOPEX v5 now includes a full business continuity management module, which helps organizations set up their BCM programs, launch business impact analysis, build business continuity plans, and manage and recover from disrupting events. Let's take a look at how all this plays out in HOPEX. Whenever an organization wants to launch a new BCM initiative, the first step is to define its scope. This means the entity and the processes that will be under analysis. Once the scope is defined, the BCM manager will be able to select the processes for which a business impact analysis is required. In case of processes already analyzed, the wizard will present useful information such as the result of the last business impact analysis. BIAs are sent to process owners who are alerted via email that they are required to fill in the impact analysis metrics. This is a straightforward exercise where the process owner is asked to carry out a qualitative analysis with respect to a predefined set of impact types and downtime periods. For example, the process owner will answer questions such as how critical is the financial impact the organization will face if the process will be unavailable for X amount of time. Once the business impact analysis matrix is duly filled out, HOPEX intelligently computes two very important parameters. First, the process business criticality, that is, how critical the process is in case of disrupting event. Two, the process recovery time objective, also referred to as RTO, that is, how much time the organization is willing to accept with the process not fully operational. The BCM manager can review the results of the BIA and eventually provide adjusted results. Based on the BIA's results, the BCM manager will have to decide if a business continuity plan is required for the analyzed process. Defining a business continuity plan is straightforward. HOPEX helps us define what risks among those impacting the analyzed process could trigger the plan, what are the different roles with respect to the plan, that is, persons that will have to be notified once the plan is triggered as a consequence of a new incident, and what are the steps that must be carried out to recover the process in case of disruption. The BCM program has been successfully set up. Now, the organization is ready to handle disrupting events since all its critical processes are equipped with business continuity plans. At any given time, the BCM manager can access to an overview of the last business impact analysis and their results to have an overview of the overall criticality of the organization processes. Furthermore, every process now presents a detail of current and past business continuity plans and all business impact analysis for future reference. Whenever a risk manager analyzes a new incident and links it to one of the risks of the register, HOPEX is able to intelligently warn the user if this incident is potentially endangering a critical process. A dedicated wizard will therefore ask the risk manager if he wants to trigger a crisis for the processes that are impacted by the new incident. As soon as the new crisis is triggered, HOPEX will warn all people who have a given role with respect to the continuity plan which has to be executed. But HOPEX true power is given by its customizable dashboards, providing a cockpit from which GRC professionals can gather useful information such as ongoing crisis, distribution of the organization processes by business criticality, risk heat maps, open incidents, and much more. And this is just a small glance of how HOPEX can help your business achieve true operational resilience.
Thank you, Michele, for again this brilliant demonstration. To conclude, we can say that the time is now for companies to mesh compliance and resilience in the fabric of their organization to ensure that they can grow and protect their business in a secure and sustainable manner for the future to come. And our new HOPEX V5 helped just deliver on that promise.
We'll now hand it over to Ludovic, who will tell us everything there is to know about the future releases of HOPEX. Thank you, Cyril. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.